are here for supporting students in ST Math. My name is Lisa Ashby, and I appreciate your time and attendance today. You're in for a treat. You have my friend and colleague, Michelle Junkin, here to share her knowledge and expertise of ST Math with you. Michelle is a professional learning specialist with Mind Research and ST Math, and she's located in Tampa, Florida. Try not to be too jealous, where she lives with her husband and her two sons. She's lived and taught in several states, though, so a wide array of knowledge. She's been in Louisiana, Connecticut, Virginia, Oklahoma, and most recently, Florida. She graduated with a bachelor's degree from the University of New Orleans and holds a national board certification in EYA mathematics. She's been teaching for 21 years from elementary through Algebra 1 and has been a math coach for 6 of those years at the elementary and middle school levels. She's an out-of-the-box innovative thinker with a passion for providing high-quality mathematics for all learners. When not working, Michelle is an avid reader and cook, and she enjoys being outside with her family and 2 dogs, whether being at the beach, kayaking, exercising, or just enjoying the Florida sunshine. And I'll ask her to share again, so we really can be jealous, her temperature in Tampa today.
Hi guys, Lisa, thank you for that. So yeah, I shared earlier, we're at a balmy 80 degrees. I think somebody earlier said they were like 23. I don't know if any of you guys can beat that or not, but yeah, don't be too jealous. I have to say it's very nice. But Lisa, that was very kind of you. Thank you for the introduction. I really kind of want to just dive in and make sure that we use our time to the best of our abilities. And so to start that, I'm going to start sharing my screen. I will tell you guys that this PD or PL opportunity that you're getting, I kind of call it a resource fest. I'm going to share tons of resources with you, things that you can take back to your teachers, to your classrooms, whatever it may be, and really show you how to dive in and support students in ST Math. So we've got them started, they're playing, they're doing their journey. What can we do to help support them? So that's what today is all about. We are a small enough group, it looks like, to where I welcome you to come off of mute if there's anything that you want to share with everyone. It's not often you get to share with people outside of your own school or your own district, so that's kind of nice. Lisa's going to be monitoring the chat so she can chime in if there's anything that I happen to miss. So please, 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 we'll get more out of all of this if we're all sharing and talking and having that discourse. The agenda for today is just to explore some resources for celebration and accountability. And like I said, give you tons of resources about how you can support your students that might be struggling. The last part of today, we can kind of decide what we're going to do. We can make it like a check-in and see if there's any kind of focus that you guys want me to talk about with assignments to help align and differentiate, or we could just use it for like a Q&A kind of session. So when we get to that point, I'm going to turn it over to you guys to tell me what you need, and then we will go from there with it. So that's kind of the plan for our next little bit of time together. So productive struggle. Can you just read that to yourself really quickly and then share out in the chat or come off of mute a word or a phrase that stands out to you? So read that definition of productive struggle and let me know if there's something that kind of stands out for you. Or you could even share out something that you had to work hard to accomplish. Andrea and Nicole both, and Dublin, Ohio, that effortful learning. You all said the same thing there, right? Grit. Process equals development. Absolutely. Grit. Creative. I like it. Grit reminds me of the need for students to develop agency. Absolutely. And even thinking about it in the context of some of the things that we've worked hard to accomplish, all of those things and the words and phrases that you guys have shared come back to mean the same thing, even for us. So it's not just, thinking about this in the context of ST Math, it's that idea of productively struggling and getting through some of those tough spots and having that grit or that with itness to keep on going. So thank you for sharing. How do you know, in thinking about productive struggle, how you've made progress towards your goal. And we can even think about it in terms of ST Math. How do you know that your students are making progress towards their goal? How do you know? For yourself or for your students? And if you want to come off of mute, I welcome that as well. That way it's not just me rattling on the whole time. How do you know you're making progress towards your goal? The number of attempts is decreasing. Absolutely, Dawn. If we're looking at that ST Math data and students, their attempts at solving a problem is decreasing or it's non-existent. Absolutely. How many of you guys actually have students do some sort of data tracking for themselves, or your teachers or yourself do some kind of tracking, even if it's, you're thinking about losing weight or something like that? The best way they say to accomplish our goals, right, is to keep track of that data for ourselves. And we think that that's very powerful for students as well. And so one of the first resources that I want to share with you has to do with this data tracking. And you can find all of these resources in your ST Math dashboard, and I'll show you in real time where to find that. But I am going to put all of them in the chat for you. So if you just want to click on these and kind of have them open, I'll give you a chance to kind of like look at it as I'm talking about it. But know that you can find all of these on your own as well to direct your teachers to when you get back to it. But when you click on that link that I just shared with you, these data trackers come up. You can see we have a wide variety here. Most of them are PDF, and so they can be filled out. If your students like to do it that way, you can print them out. Students might have them in their data folders, something for them to just kind of go with and know the progress that they're making. We've got very text-heavy ones, graphing kind of ones. We've got ones that are more visual for our younger students or maybe our ESL students. A wide array of things that teachers can be using in the classroom to help support students as they're tracking their own data. I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was a teacher just coming out of the classroom, students were always asking me, what's my grade in the class and how am I doing? How nice is it to kind of turn that around a little bit and have students be responsible for their own learning and know exactly where they are for themselves. So we want to really encourage that. I am actually on this next part going to go live into a student account to show you a couple of things that a student might see when they log in. And of course, Gigi fell asleep on me, so give me just a second there. That's not what I want. 1 second, thank you. Technology is great when everything's working perfectly and you do what you need to do. And if that doesn't happen, then we make up for it. Okay, so just a couple of things that I want to show you guys about what you might see when you're walking around behind students and you're monitoring your class. We know what our educator console looks like for the most part, but maybe we didn't take into account all the things that we could see and notice on a student screen. The first thing that I want to point out is, of course, Gigi right here in the middle. Back here is your past history. So if a student has done anything in the past in ST Math, this is what they can click on to see that. Moving forward straight across is the grade level journey. That's what most students are involved in. That's where they go to. That's where they're getting all of that information for their grade level standards. Right up here is the assignment house. If you give a student any assignment, reordering the journey, possibly giving them assignment, maybe they have an IEP and you want to assign them on something on a grade level or two below where they need to be in order to fulfill that IEP goal, you can do that. That's all found here. Up here at the top of the screen, you can see how many minutes a student has been logged in the current session and how many puzzles they've solved. Right here where the student's name is in the middle, if you click that drop-down menu, of course, this is where the sign out button is. We want to encourage you as part of your class procedures and routines. If you're not actually having the students sign out, it's a good idea. Oh, no problem, Ronnie. It's a good idea to have them log out. ST Math doesn't always recognize that a student is not actively solving puzzles, sometimes for 10 minutes. So that could be a lot of non-productive time that a student is not really in the program. So you want to make sure they're doing sign out. If If you come right here to progress on the student bar right here, students can look and see how many minutes they've been in the program and how many puzzles they solved for the day. They can see it for the week. They can see last week, their average, their percent progress and their grade level journey. Just a nice way, again, for students to be filling out these data trackers for themselves and not having to worry about the teacher having to provide all this information for the student. You can always ask the student to come by, click on their progress and show you what's going on. So that's a nice way to have conversations around how the student's performing in ST Math. Just wanted you to be aware that it's there. The details, not much information there, but just want to show you. And then the settings, this would be if a student, that auto pause feature, if you wanted to have it turned on for a student all of the time, this is where you would do that. It gets to be somewhat tedious. So I would say that that is something that would be reserved for just the most students that need that most of the help. When that auto pause is on there, that feedback, whether it's correct or incorrect, it's going to go very slowly. So wanted you to know that it was there. And then, of course, this is your back button. Students can go back to wherever they were in their journey, and that's what brings you there. But hopefully just kind of taking a little tour of what the student page looks like gives you a better idea of what student information they can find for themselves, as well as a quick glance at their screen and what you can see as you're passing by. Live from the classroom, we want to encourage students to celebrate when they're doing great. And so it might be according to class goals, it might be according to individual student goals, just kind of celebrating and looking at some ideas of what other people are doing. You can see on this leaderboard, the school used to show the most average puzzles for the week. And then they posted it each week and then celebrated it during their morning announcements. The bulletin board here celebrates all kinds of things over here. You can actually see it's got the school-wide puzzle goal for the month, who rocked ST Math. They actually have some pictures on here that shows you who's doing what and what a good job that they're doing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not overly creative. So sometimes it's nice to log into our ST Math Twitter account. You can see all the cool things that people are doing and sharing with each other. It's nice sometimes to just kind of get some ideas and see what's going well for others. If you notice, it might be kind of hard to see. It's on this portion right here and this portion back here. It's just laminated. So that way, as students are making progress or the grade levels are making progress, teachers can wipe off and include it. They're actually doing a bar graph so it can increase and move along with the students as the year progresses. And then we also have like these trophies and that you can do those for like whole school. You can do it individually, totally up to you. I will share the link where all these celebration resources are in just a second with you and give you a chance to kind of look through that. The ST Math progress postcards, want to make sure that you're aware of those. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you for these. But what happens is once your class meets 10% progress in their grade level journey, the teacher gets a message on their educator console that says, hey, your class is at 10% or 20%, whatever it might be. And then you're going to get this postcard. Our theme this year, Gigi's theme this year is record-breaking animals. And so your students, you could print these out. There's like a coloring page. There's an information sheet telling you why the animal is a record-breaking animal and what they've done and that sort of thing. The next slide I'm going to show you is an actual bulletin board where a teacher used the theme from last year, the year before, I forgot which one it was, but use that to track the student progress in ST Math throughout the year. And so you can see for every 10% progress postcard that they got, the teacher actually posted it on their bulletin board. So that's kind of a cool, easy idea should you choose to do something like that. So I'm going to give you this link to the celebration resources, some of the ones that I just spoke about. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to click into that, click around, see what you can find, see if there's anything you love. If there is, share it in the chat, come off of mute and let us know about it. But I'm going to give us about 2 minutes to do that. Take the time to really dive in and look around. If you click into the postcards, you'll see all of the postcards that come up. the celebration resources I shared with you. You can click on any and all of these to see what's there. As you're looking, please, 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 let's share with each other a resource that you're excited to bring back to your campus. When you come across something you love, let us know. Anybody have anything that they like?
I wanted to share that I like the top 5, but I usually track the percentage progress, but it doesn't have that. It has the minutes, and I wonder if we could add that.
Huh. So Lisa, if you don't mind, will you write that down and we can let our people that be know that that might be something that could be useful. We definitely listen to teacher feedback. So if that's something that is popular and people like that, we want to make sure that we're taking note of that. So yes, thank you for sharing. Anybody else? So Kelly, the gold GG trophies that you can personalize with the students' names. Yes, those are absolutely awesome. So Nicole, as the math coach, you track the data for the school weekly. You put the golden trophies outside of the classroom. Oh, that score the highest for the month. What a nice idea. Also have a bulletin board for my students that are 100% finishers. And they use tracking. Okay, so all kinds of good ideas there. Nicole just shared quite a few things that they're doing at her school and what she does as a math coach. So if you look through there, you might get some ideas from her. Kathleen, your students love the trophies too. That's awesome. That's very good to know. Oh, Ronnie, I'm sorry about the reception. Keep trying. We welcome you back whenever you can get back in. All right. Thank you guys for sharing the resources. One of the resources that we share just about in every professional development opportunity that we give revolves around our problem solving process. What this is it takes what we know about how students learn and actually puts that into play in the classroom. So forgive me, when I logged out of the other account, it took it all the way away. What I'd like to do with you guys now is just kind of model how that problem solving process happens in a classroom and how you or your teachers might be using that with your students. It's a way to have students, if you participated in Steve Limewald's keynote this morning, he was talking about instead of just giving just a problem and students work in this problem, it's actually asking the students questions and framing that problem around having the students generate their answers and come up with solutions to their questions and to the problems that are presented. And so you could use this in any number of scenarios. You could do this as a whole class if you were introducing a concept to students. You might use an ST Math puzzle to pull up and walk through this problem solving process with them. In that instance, it might be a whole group lesson as well, and you're reviewing a concept. This could be a student that has an alert and you're not quite sure how to help them get themselves unstuck. You would utilize this problem solving process to help ask them questions to get them thinking about ways to solve the problem. So just going to kind of model this process with you that you could use in any number of scenarios. The first thing that you're going to do, and if you look at that resource that I just dropped into the chat, those are our bookmarks. We've got a very visual one, and we've got one that's more text heavy. Either one of those is fine. We've got sentence stems, we've got posters, all kind of resources there. But as you're looking at that resource and watching as I go through this, it would be the same thing that your students would do. They would have maybe a copy of that problem solving process bookmark to use to help them facilitate their own thinking, or even to go through this with them while you're with them and modeling it with them. You might have anchor charts in your room with it, whatever it might be. The first part is this notice and wonder. This is just having students pay attention to the puzzle that you have up or to the puzzle that they're playing and asking them just what they see and what they're wondering about. So in this case, oftentimes we have students say, you know, I see green blocks and I see white blocks. Oh, and look, they turn pink when you scroll over it. I wonder what I'm supposed to do here. And then you might have other students that notice that there's 100 here, or that they count out that there's 10 10s here. No wrong answers. It's just having students pay attention to what's there. The next part of the problem solving process that I'm clicking on over here is this predict and justify. So this is when we're asking students to tell me what they think they need to do in order to solve the puzzle, and to tell you why they think that. Oftentimes students like to tell you what they think, but they have trouble formulating the why. We really want to encourage students to give you that why they're thinking something. If you're doing this as a whole group, this is when math discourse really happens. You've got students sharing ideas, sharing their reasoning. You've got others agreeing with them. You might have others that are disagreeing or see something in a different way. As your teachers are working through this, this is where we really want to hear and listen to all those ideas that are out there. Oftentimes, I'll just say we get 6 10s here because there are 6 10s here. Some students might have noticed that addition sign and they connect that they need to make 100. So somebody else might say, oh, I need 4 10s. That's that example of that discourse that could be happening. The next part is this test and observe. This is when we're going to put in our answer what we think we need to do, and then we're going to take a second to come down here and press the green go button. Not sure if you guys are aware or not, but there is an animation control feature here where you can pause that feedback, rewind it, and that sort of thing. It's hard to see what I'm going to do, so I just want you to kind of remember the catchphrase. It's green go, click, click. So once you hit the green go button, you can double click in the background anywhere. And what happens is this scrub bar is what we call it, comes up at the top here. You can go backwards and forwards in that animation. When you get to this point, you can actually stop, maybe come over here and grab the annotation tool that's on the right, circle this right on the screen, ask the students, ooh, do we think we're going to get this correct? Why or why not? What's going on here? Is this puzzle playing out like you thought it was going to? So having those conversations with the students, asking those questions to further their thinking about the predictions that they made and if they think it's going to play out like they thought. If it does, and this is that analyze and learn part, if it does play out like the student thought, you get into this new puzzle and then you can say, well, how does this puzzle look like the last one we just solved? Is there anything in the last puzzle that can help me solve this puzzle? And then you would re-enter this problem solving process again. If a puzzle wasn't correct, then you can frame out those conversations about what did we not notice the first time? Maybe, students didn't notice there was a plus sign here, or that they were supposed to fill this up to 100, and start having those conversations about what they learned in the feedback to help them re-enter this problem solving process to make a new prediction on this puzzle. All right. I talked a lot. Questions, clarifications. Is this something that your teachers or yourself are already doing in the classroom and you see this happening? Give me an idea of what's going on with this problem solving process. Have you never seen it before? I welcome you guys to come off of mute as well. The teachers often complain that they don't know how to solve the problems themselves. Nicole, you know what? I was going to say, Lisa and I are both smiling there, right? We hear that so often. And so there's two things that I can tell you. Number one, just for myself, I encourage teachers to not figure out the answer ahead of time. And the reason I'm saying that is because oftentimes when we know the answer to something, we're more inclined as a teacher or a leader to show students how to do something. Whereas if the teacher doesn't know, what's wrong with pulling up a chair right by a student saying, you know what, I'm not really sure either. Let's sit down and go through this process together and see if we can't come up with an answer. To me, that's more powerful than knowing how to do something necessarily. The other thing to go with that is this actually just launched this week. we have what's called Game in a Minute. It's only available to teachers, not to students. And there's not a ton of them out there yet, but our team is working on producing more and more of these. But as a teacher, for some of the games, you'll be able to go in and watch this Game in a Minute video that kind of shows you the fundamentals of the game and how to play it. So I'm hoping that helps Nicole in either of those directions. So you said you also encourage them to have the kids help. Absolutely. And that goes right along with what I just said. Pull up a chair and say, I don't know either. Or if there's somebody else in the class that's working on the same game, partner them up, make a small group and let them talk about it together. Or if somebody else has already accomplished that game, maybe in that problem solving process resource that I gave you guys, you could actually, and I'm going to come over here because I want to show it to you. I have it pulled up. I have it pulled up somewhere. Here it is. So when you click in there, these are the bookmarks I was talking about, the text heavy version, the visual version. Right here are some sentence stems. When students go to help each other, or even if you assign them to work in a small group together, a lot of times they don't know how to help each other without telling each other what to do. So having these sentence stems as like an anchor chart or just something that's available for students to use can help them frame out conversations and how to start those conversations and that sort of thing. So sometimes it's not that they don't want to help or don't, want to sit with someone else to do it. It's just that they don't know how. And they don't know where to start. So these sentence stems can be pretty beneficial when it comes to that. All right. Any other questions or comments here? If your teachers are not doing this in the classroom or you're not seeing it when you walk around, I would encourage you to actually have them get in there and start using it, start practicing, start having the students get around and use that. This way, when they get used to that, they can start facilitating for themselves. Why are they going to raise their hand and say, I don't know how to do this? When they do that, they're wanting the teacher to kind of come rescue them and tell them what to do. If a student encounters this problem solving process each time where the student's just asking them questions, they're going to start to realize they can do that for themselves. I dropped a link in the chat. If you click on that, I'm just going to give you about 30-45 seconds to practice that animation control feature in that game there. So you can click on that building blocks game, make a guess as far as the puzzle is concerned, press the green go and double click in the background. And let's make sure that you can all do that because that's a huge thing, right? Being able to pause that animation, take a step back and really look at something is a big thing. So I want to make sure you all know how to do it. Everybody good? Thumbs up? Can you give us a thumbs up, an emoji there, or let us know you're good? Green go, click, click. Thank you, Nicole. All right, Kathleen gave me a thumbs up too. I'm thinking everybody's probably pretty good there. Okay. We were supposed to watch a video together. I really don't think we're gonna have enough time to do that. I'd rather take some of your questions in the end and really gotta get in there and discuss that. So we're gonna walk right over that video. Pretty much it was a teacher that was just going through what I just did with you. I think if we talk about it, it's a little bit more meaningful than taking, this was like 5 or 7 minutes for the video, and I just don't think that we have that much time. I am showing you guys this slide here to let you know that this is not a mental math. ST Math is not mental math. ST Math is all about having students use whatever manipulatives they need in order to help them solve any of the puzzles in our games, even if it's paper and pencil. Like, I'm a firm believer that paper and pencil should be a given. You pick up your laptop to log in and you pick up your paper and pencil to work things out, or your whiteboard and markers. But anything and everything a teacher would normally use in order to solve a problem, we want to make sure that students have at their fingertips. So these are just some of the general ones that you see all of the time. In ST Math, we actually have some suggested manipulatives for each of the objectives, and we have some math mats. I am actually going to drop both of those links for you in the chat. I want you to take a few minutes, or maybe a minute and a half or so, to take a look at some of what we've got out there. The math mats is the first thing that I'm dropping into the chat. These are more like your number lines and your 100 charts and your 10 frames, sort of those things that students might need to help build those foundational skills. The second link I dropped in the chat has to do with game mats. And so these game mats are pretty much, if Fruit Monster is one that I know that we have. So it's pretty much taking the puzzle of Fruit Monster off of the screen and putting it on paper. So that way students can take what they're seeing on the screen and build a connection as they're working it out with manipulatives actually on the game mat. We don't have mats for all of the games, but we do have them for quite a few. So if you're taking time to click into both of these, you can kind of get a general idea of what is there and what we have available. I don't think, for some reason, I'm realizing that this link was not in there. So I am actually going to post that in the chat for you as well. This is the suggested manipulatives resource that we have too. So you would just click on one of the grade levels here. I'll just click on 4th grade just to show you what's available. And so you can see here all of the objectives for 4th grade where we have suggested manipulatives that go along with those objectives. Your math mats page looks like this. Like I said, these are some of those 10 frames, hundreds, charts or grids, number lines, that sort of thing. And then your game mats that are here, these are some of the games that we have the game mats for. Some of the more popular games, we've got the ones with the, this was Fruit Monster that I was talking about, some with the how many legs. We also have some of the creatures out there. So those are nice just to be able to have. If we don't have a specific game mat for a certain game that a student is playing, there's nothing wrong with taking a screenshot, printing that out, putting it in a page protector, and having students be able to use that. Like I said, anything where they can take it off of the screen and put it on paper to help it make it more concrete for them is going to be beneficial. Anybody see any resource with one of those three that they really like? We're all good. Something else that you can do for students that might be struggling and need to get over that hump, if you will, or that hurdle in solving some of the puzzles, is to actually have students go back to access earlier levels. Sometimes they just need to go back and see something, even though they've demonstrated mastery of something, which are these check marks, doesn't mean that it's totally solidified and clicked in there. If a student goes back and clicks on any of these past puzzles that they've completed, it's fine. The only thing is that it won't count towards their puzzle count because it's already been counted for them. So if a student's looking to get a certain number of puzzles, they might not want to do that necessarily so readily, but we really want to encourage them to let them know that going back to do something is okay. And so, you know, changing up your goals for your students and not making it always about puzzles could encourage them to want to do that. But we just wanted you guys to know that that is a possibility to have them go back and play something that they've already played. Nicole, I'm glad those suggested manipulatives. I will say I like to add in like real-time things while I'm doing this. I'm getting ready to do a family math night in Virginia, and we're doing it on those extra manipulatives and things that families could use at home. It doesn't always have to be the formal blocks that we have at school. You can use macaroni and Cheerios and all kinds of things like that. So taking all of those common resources that we have, but also adding in some extra ones. So I'm glad you pointed that out. So cool, such a good idea. I know, right? Hey, let us know. We'll come do family math nights. It's fun. We love doing those. The animation control feature that I showed you guys, that is definitely something that could be beneficial for those students that might be having a little bit of trouble while they're going through ST Math. sometimes, I don't know, when I was in the classrooms, a lot of times my students would press the green go button and they would turn and talk to their friend and miss everything that was going on. So letting students know that that control is in their hands and they can utilize that as they need to can be very powerful. As you're going around and you're watching students play the games, actually having them write it out on the screen, having them pause it and talking about those conversations can make a big difference in a student's understanding and a student's learning as they move forward. So we talked about that productive struggle a little bit earlier and kind of a little bit as we've been going throughout. We do have some celebration notes and some celebration resources. I warned you guys at the beginning that this was like resource overload. I was going to load you up. There is the link in the chat. Take just a second to take a look at that. We have some pretty cool things there. I do want to say, Kelly said the math mats are great because some student need the hands-on approach. 100%, Kelly, yes. Being able to use the manipulatives on the mats instead of just on the screen can be really helpful to some. Like I said, it's taking what's on that screen and moving it to something that they can manipulate and change, helps a lot of students make that connection a lot more clearly. Thank you for sharing that. So if you're looking at this resource I just shared with you, these encouragement notes are pretty cool. So, I mean, it's nice. You can walk by a student's desk as they're working and leave a you rock on their desk, or, you know, fabulous focus. Students like that encouragement. We like that, right? A teacher or principal comes to observe us and they leave a note on our desk saying we did a great job. That kind of encouragement and letting people know that you see them, or letting students know that you see them and that you're noticing what they're doing as they're struggling productively and not giving up, can help them really move forward. Anybody see one that they love? They're all pretty cool. So we talked about exploring new resources for celebration and accountability. We also talked about supporting struggling students. This is that time that I was going to give you guys a choice as far as letting me know what you wanted to talk about. I can talk about both. I can just answer some questions. Let me open it up for questions first. We've got like 10 minutes left. Let me see if there's anything like, you've got my ear, Lisa's here. Is there anything you want to ask us? Everything's going great. I know what you're doing. You're all furiously typing and everything's going to wind up in the chat. That's what's going on. Would you like me to show you how to assign assignments so that you can differentiate and maybe align ST Math possibly with how you're progressing or how it might align to your textbook? I can do any of those things. Because if you don't tell me, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to pick one. Oh, Dawn, thank you. All right. We've noticed students are completing objectives, but are not improving their post-test scores. We would like them to take the post on paper, can't figure out how to print. Okay, thank you. All right, let's do that then. So I am going to come here. I'm going to log into ST Math as a teacher. I encourage you, if you want to log into your own ST Math accounts to see how to do this, you do it with me, or you can just watch. It's totally up to you. I'm going to come into this class. And I'm going to go to standards. Sorry, guys, as I'm doing this on the cuff, you're going to have to bear with me in a minute. So make sure I click on the right thing, right? All right, so this is where I am. I was on my home screen. I clicked into whatever class it is, Dawn, that I wanted to be able to print or pre-test or post-test from. On my bar, that's kind of like the middle top part of the screen on the left-hand side, it says students, usage, objectives, and standards. I'm going to come to standards. Right here is where you've got your pre-quiz and your post-quiz. I know there's a way to print. That's not what I wanted. Okay, I thought I had it and I didn't. Lisa, off the top of your head, do you know exactly where it is?
Well, that's what I was wondering, if it was the export report on that screen that you were just at, if you're looking at printing off
Yeah.
scores
The
or,
export, yeah, the export the report though is going to be just what's here. So Dawn, give me just a minute. Lisa, do you mind running into Slack or somebody for me and finding out exactly where I need to go, since I don't know off the top of my head?
absolutely. Although
Thank you.
after I'm reading that question one more time, Dawn, maybe you can provide some clarification. Do you want like a piece of paper, like a graphic organizer for students to take a test on, or are you looking for the actual assessment itself on paper?
I don't want to speak for her, Lisa, but I'm thinking if they take the post and it's not where they want to be, she wants to actually have that post test printed out
actual-
so they can take it again. Terrell, that is the question there. We just want to figure out actually where to print it from. Okay, so while we're figuring out Dawn's answer, since this is your Q&A time, you still have the option. I can still show you how to do assignments, or is there another question out there that I can answer for anyone? The screenshot. So guys, and I'm saying Terrell, for those of you that are in here, Terrell is one of our partners at ST Math who works with John Deere, whatever. But she's saying about screenshots is what makes them printable. However, the Great Quiz recording sheet would work for now. So not sure if there's another way, but she is saying that you could take the screenshot possibly to print it out to do that, Dawn. But let's see if there's another way to be able to do that. We'll find out. Lisa's figuring that out for us. All right. Anybody else have a question? If not, we can go in and talk about the assignments and how to assign assignments. But like I said, I just wanted to make sure that everybody's getting a chance to answer or ask any questions. Okay. Then I'll just go on with this. So you already know that the journey is the grade level curriculum. All standards are aligned for whatever grade that a student is in. Our mathematicians and all the people behind the scenes have actually scaffolded the journey and put it in the order that it's in based on all the research that they've done. You can be very rest assured that when a student gets into their ST Math account and gets into their journey, that they are playing what they need to play in order to achieve mastery and skill in those grade level standards. It is regularly updated based on the research. Based on feedback that we get from teachers, we adjust things constantly, depending on what's going on, again, with comments, research, whatever it might be. If you choose to give an assignment to a student, one of the things that you can do is turn off the journey if there is an assignment available. So if we give students the opportunity to pick and choose between going to their journey or going to an assignment that you give, sometimes they'll pop in and out of both and won't necessarily finish something or be working in the thing that you want them to. And so I want to show you in real time how you might do that if you choose to do that. And so I'm going to go back into my test account here that I was just in. And I'm going to get into one of my classrooms. Again, if you're doing it with me, feel free. If not, just watching is good too. When I am in the class that I have given an assignment to, and I want them playing the assignment that I've given them, not their journey, I can come to this settings tab, which is, again, we talked a minute ago about the standards tab. Right next to it, it's settings. When I come there, I will scroll down to this section that says curriculum, journey access. Right here, you've got the option to turn it on, turn it off when assignments are available. This means on that student screen that we showed you earlier, when a student goes across to their journey, if you have an assignment that you've given the students that you want them to work on, and you have this turn journey off if assignments are available, that journey won't even be clickable. They will have to click on that assignment house that you've given them to play whatever the assignment is that you've given. When they're done with it, then their journey will be clickable again. You don't have to do anything else and it goes away on its own. So if you're interested in doing that, it is, again, under settings here in your class, scrolling down to curriculum and then journey access. If you're not familiar with how to assign an assignment, I'm up here on the top menu bar on the right-hand side. It's got my name, support, and then curriculum. If I come to curriculum and I come to all learning objectives here, it will automatically populate according to the ST Math journey. You're free to assign assignments according to the journey, or if you know exactly what standard it is that you want to assign, you can change that drop-down menu to standards. And that's over here under organized by. So if you know the standard, you've got access to everything in the curriculum, pre-K through 8th grade. You would change it to whatever grade level you wanted. These are all your standards for that grade level. Over on the right-hand side is a little drop-down arrow. If I wanted to assign something in geometry, I would click that. All of my standards of geometry come up. These are all of the objectives that ST Math has in that standard. I would click on the one that I wanted. It gives me a little summary. I click on the hyperlink. And then right here on that front page is where you assign this objective. When I click there, all I have to do is click the class that I want to assign it to. And you can either assign it to everyone, or you can assign it to individual students. I mentioned earlier about assigning outside of a grade level. A student might have an IEP and might have a goal that they need to meet at a different grade level, whatever it might be. But you could also come in here and pick whatever students individually you wanted to assign it to. And then the most important thing is to click assign. That's down here at the bottom. So that was the last piece, since you guys didn't have a lot of questions. Again, curriculum, all learning objectives. It sorts it according to journey, or you can change it to standards. You choose the grade level that you want. Drop down arrow blue over here on the right-hand side. You just decide on the objective in ST Math. You click that hyperlink, and then assign this objective is right here. And then the last thing for today, I will drop the link in the chat for you, but we do have a textbook correlations document. So that way you can look through what we've got. And if there is a correlation document for your text, it's available there. It will look like this when you click on the link that I just put in the chat. You would scroll through all of the different curriculums, the different textbooks that we have, and then you choose the grade level that you wanted to look at. So let's just say it's grade 3 here. We'll show you whatever it is in your textbook, what the concept is in ST Math, so that you don't have to do that correlation yourself. And so that's a really nice resource to have in case your teachers are wanting to change the order of something, or just to see what is it in ST Math that matches what I'm teaching in my textbook in the classroom. All right, guys, and we're at 8 after. Thank you for attending. This is my information on Twitter and my email should you need anything.